All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Thanks for being here. Episode number 300 and something or other. Remember back when we used to say the episode number every time?
Remember back when I used to put them on the website?
Yeah, that became too much to keep up
I
with.
think actually took the podcast page down. Just like generic, go to this podcast. It wasn't
But
necessary.
like we made a big sacrifice. We started putting these videos up
Yeah.
on YouTube. It used to just be the audio. It's a lot more
Yeah.
work. So no more website, but you know where to find the podcast.
yeah,
You're here.
People don't
You're
go to the
listening to us.
website to find the podcast.
There is a chance that this is the first time you're listening to our podcast. So if that's you, welcome. I know the algorithm just randomly suggests podcasts like yours, or hey, you might like this. So welcome if you just found it. I'm Jonathan. Should I say the joke?
No.
This is Blakely. Digital Barbell is the name of our company. We help people get in shape online through common sense training and nutrition programs. We help regular people from their 30s to their 70s.
70s.
We don't have any fancy tricks up our sleeve other than good old hard work. We do believe that our approach to training is the best and most sustainable way to train, to enjoy your life, to live the width of life, feel capable, have energy, and actually look the part
And
too.
I think our clients feel the same way.
I know they do. That's why they stick around. Before we get to today's sponsor, just a quick little teaser announcement
yes.
because we don't have all the full details to release, but Blakely is cooking up a new program that will release right after Memorial Day 2024, if you're listening to this in the distant future. And this is coming out in the summer.
Yeah.
So that's the point.
It's going to be a summer program. We know you're busy in the summer. You want to get your workouts in and get it over with quick. And that's the point. 3 times a week. Under an hour. We're looking at
for
between
sure.
like the 30 to 45 minute time domain, everything you need, full body,
Yeah.
strength and conditioning.
And we're going to
program.
price it so this
That
thing
was
is
a lot
like
more details than you were like, we're not giving any.
We told you everything except the name and how to sign up. But our email list, as always, will get the first shot at that. And if there's any discount available to
Yeah.
it. So if you're not already on our email list, make sure you head to the stuff down below or back on the home screen of your podcast app to get on our email list because you'll not want to miss out on that. That's all we'll say about that. We'll
All right.
leave it teaser for later. Sponsor of the week.
I had a last minute sponsor come in.
Oh,
Sorry,
sweet.
it
All right.
it overrid the sponsor.
I had a good one, but go ahead.
The sponsor, well, they have to be next week. I mean, you have to push them back.
That's fine.
This week's sponsor is Squirts.
Squirts. Oh my god.
Speaking of summertime, Squirts are back.
Oh Lord.
Squirts are something I've never worn. I actually wore Squirts when we worked at Foot Locker together. That's
Yeah.
how we met, is working at Foot Locker back in the day. And the women were allowed to wear pants or skirts, but these were like polyester issued by Dillard's. Like you had to go get this one certain one at Dillard's. Not an attractive skirt.
I mean, you got me out of the deal. It must have been pretty attractive.
Once I started wearing those skirts, we were
Yeah.
like, okay.
The squirts hooked me.
But I feel like number one, they're in style again. They're like trending. You know,
Yeah.
you see them everywhere. These like
You say
tennis
so.
skirts, even if you don't play tennis. And it's such a good idea. It's hot outside. I don't really like going around town in my workout shorts, but these are workout shorts underneath with a skirt on top.
You guys can't
So,
see it on the YouTube. 'cause
I'm currently wearing
She's
it.
wearing some squirts.
And the only reason I got this is I had a gift card. And so when I have a gift card for somewhere, I'm a little bit more just like,
A little
I'm
more
like,
flexible.
A little flexible. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get something I would just like, I was like, oh, let me test the waters. Maybe I'll get a skirt. I got the cutest skirt and little top. Not this one, but another one.
What if you're wearing that skirt out in public and somebody assumes you play tennis and they walk up to you and start like asking all these tennis questions?
I'll be like, no, but I have a workout program that I think you're going to love. Get you ready for that tennis.
Let me tell you who my sponsor was going to be because I think it'll just fire you up a little bit.
Oh, Lord.
It was going to be an anti-sponsor, actually. We were going to be anti-sponsored by Hidden Fees. So, our sponsors are companies we associate with and like stuff going on. We've been having this conversation today.
Hidden fees.
Because we're recording this on Tuesday and you do our finances on Tuesdays. How sick of Hidden Fees are you?
It's good. I feel like it's really, everybody's creeping them in and it's getting out of hand.
I mean, like, it's crazy. You can literally, if you have somebody's credit card number, you can literally just like slide in an extra charge on top of whatever the person agreed to pay for, and like you just get away with it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Back in the day when people sent out like paper statements, you had a piece of paper, this was your bill, you looked it over, and then you wrote the check. There were, and if it went up, you were like, hey, this
That's
is
not
different.
right.
Let me get on the phone and call them. But all these like auto billing and just like these things just allow them to, we thought about this today because we have like living out here in the country, you have to like pay services to pick up your trash and recycling, like, like a trash man from the city. So anyway, you pay them every like 4 months. And I was like, this seems higher. And we went back through the entire year and the last 4 payments, and every payment has been like like a few dollars, like $1 here, $1.10 here, and now like we're like $10 more than we originally agreed to pay.
Yeah.
Little by little.
So it's hidden fees.
And when we looked at the details, it is little hidden fees. It's like they added like 2 cents to this fee, 20 cents to this fee.
They raised the fuel surcharge a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole like disappointment with Airbnb.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
this Airbnb is only $69 a night. That'll be $3,000 for a week.
It's true.
What just happened?
It's so true. Even like shipping stuff now is like you order something and they have this like little like $2.95 protection, and if you don't think to turn it off, there's $3. Anyway.
Yeah. It's a gotcha.
It's crazy, and all the machines that are like. Tip, like can I get a bottle of water? Like, turn it around, $1 tip, please. Like, what just happened?
It's out of control, man. But that's not what we're talking about today. I always forget to actually introduce the topic of the day before we get ranting. But today we're going to be talking about. I've called it this. Besides this intro, this is going to be the most downloaded podcast episode.
We should
ever.
probably redo that intro then.
When we look back in 5 years, this topic is going to suck people in because this is real. This is a struggle, and we all want help with it. You ready for it? It's the 3 steps you need to take to get your family on board with your fitness goals.
Okay.
I posted this as like a little pithy quote on Instagram or somewhere before, but the most underrated thing that makes fitness harder is having an unsupportive spouse. If you are living in a house with somebody
or family, yeah. And the people you interact with most.
And you're on the health journey, like you're trying to eat better, you're trying to stay consistent with your workouts, and you have somebody in your house who doesn't support that goal, they're on a different path or just don't care, it's going to be really tough because they're going to subconsciously try to sabotage you. They may actively try to sabotage you. It's going to create friction between the two of you that you have to overcome. And all you really want is to get the benefits for yourself, and you really do want that person to get the same benefits you're getting.
Right.
And you want to be able to do it together because that will make it easier on both of you. But it is really hard. You know what I mean? Why are you just laughing?
No, I'm listening.
It's tough. This is the situation. We see it play out with our clients, and we're lucky enough to coach a lot of couples too. And even sometimes like somebody starts out with us and then their partner joins in, and we see the friction decrease and we see the consistency go up. So this is a real thing. So we want to give practical tips of how to make this easier in your real life.
I often think like we're lucky that we both have, and we didn't like, I don't know, we didn't like have a decision about any of this stuff, but I feel like we're both lucky that we both have the mindset of like, we enjoy taking care of our fitness and our health by how much we work out and how well we eat.
Yeah. It all kind of changed when we moved to Tennessee and we knew nobody there, and we like joined the CrossFit gym. And like, what were we gonna do? Like, we were both working towards the same goal at that time because we didn't know anybody. We were working for ourselves. Like, boom. So we were kind of on the same path. Up until then, it wasn't
That's
really
true.
like that. Okay, so all that being said, we're gonna give you the practical tips that you need to make this happen. But here's a big giant disclaimer. I've never been able to convince somebody that they need to do anything with their health and fitness and it lead to like a long-term
in your family
outcome. No, just like in general,
even,
even within like a coaching relationship, there really is no like sitting somebody down for a talk and telling them like, hey, look, you got to straighten out. This is what you need to do. I'm on this path. I really need you to do this. You really need to do this. You could fire them up in the moment. You might even be able to get them to do like something, like join me for this one workout or whatever.
Right.
But somebody has to decide on their own, whether it's your friend, your family, or if you're a coach and you have a client, they got to decide they're going to do this for themselves. So all the things we're going to tell you in this episode are going to help support them making that decision, but ultimately it's got to be up to them to do it. It's like, that saying like the internet is undefeated or whatever. Like people are undefeated at deciding whatever they're going to do and go do it. You can't make somebody do something,
Yeah.
but you follow this advice, you're going to be setting
No
yourself
matter
up
how
for
much you
success.
care and you really just want it because you want the best for them,
Yeah.
that's not going to be the thing.
Right.
That's going to turn their mind over.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Why don't you read these off and we'll just kind of roll through them.
All right. Step 1.
We said the 3 steps.
Lead by example.
It's the old saying of like, you got to put your oxygen mask on before you help somebody else. So you got to take care of yourself. Number 1, decide that like, I really am going to make this a priority for myself. I'm going to set the example despite what's going on. Like you're an independent person. You're on your own journey. You're like this stoic philosopher who like, has their priorities in order. You are on your path. You're going to do this stuff. You are going to be the example for these people.
Yeah.
Now this can't come across as like holier than thou. I think that goes without saying. And I don't think anybody listening to this wants to do that. But you have to be sensitive to the individual people in your life and kind of know their threshold for how much you can lead by example and how much you need to do in private and how much you need to do in front of their face. So think about that, but know that you can lead by example. And this goes to even people in your life that you aren't trying to like convince do something, but when you lead by example, the people around you are soaking up like the things that you're doing. And like, this is really the way that it works with us posting our workouts that we're doing or things that we're eating on Instagram. Like we're not saying like we're trying to convince you to do what we're doing, but we're showing you, in a public forum, what we're doing. We're leading by example and you're kind of picking up on that. So
yeah. And it's also like, if we tell you to do a workout, we're not going to be like, I don't feel like doing that today. We're going to do the workout too,
So this really plays out with your kiddos in life. Like they're watching you, they're soaking that in. You're not trying to convince your kid that eating healthy food is good and exercising is good. You're just showing them, modeling them an active lifestyle. Like one of our clients in particular, Julia, she's been, Blakely was working out with her husband over 10 years ago.
Yeah, back at Rice,
She kind of started getting into it. She would come to Blakely's gym on the weekends.
She came to our garage gym.
And this was back when like they were just first married.
Yeah.
So she's continued to work out with digital barbell since we started it. And there literally hasn't been a time in her son's life, because he was born during this time, that him seeing his mom work out isn't just the normal thing. So what do you think is going to happen?
I remember her deadlifting pregnant. Yeah. Like very pregnant, a lot of weight in my gym. So literally not a time in his life that he's not been around her working out.
So she's just normalizing it by being a role model of what a healthy lifestyle looks like and prioritizing her own health. And that's going to have the effect. Like she's going to shape this little kid's future and his relationship with exercise and being healthy just by modeling it and being a good role model. So know that in addition to your spouse, anybody else in your family, like your kids too, are really going to benefit from you being a role model. Another thing to think about is when you are doing these things with your healthy lifestyle in front of your friends and family, don't talk so much about the outcome oriented things that you're excited about. Like, hey, like I finally hit 5 pounds down, kind of wait for them to celebrate you or whatever, but focus more on like celebrating the things that you're doing consistently that led to that outcome. Like
I went a month without missing 3 workouts a week.
Right.
That's more of a thing
or like
to celebrate.
I've been working really hard on like drinking more water, and I finally like hit 14 days in a row of hitting my water goal. Like show people that those behaviors that you have to do consistently are really the things that you can celebrate, and that might kind of like gamify the situation for them, where they're like, let me try that. Let me see like if I can kind of string together some consistency too, instead of you just telling them like, I lost 5 pounds this week.
Right.
What did you do? That's not going to encourage anybody. So try to avoid that. Focus on the process oriented things that you're killing and let them be excited about that. Okay. Speaking of like setting challenges and having those consistency process goals, be open about like setting little challenges for your family. Like, hey, let's as a family see if we can go on 3 walks this week. You're not telling them to lose weight. You're not telling them to eat healthy. You're encouraging them to join into an activity with you that is now like something you're all doing together. So think about little challenges you can set up. Like, I don't know, think of one like, let's see how many times we can cook at home this week instead of go out. If that's something that the family isn't usually on board with, kind of gamify the situation. You like that one?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to step number 2, because I think we hit.
Well, I was kind of thinking almost like in a devil's advocate way about this one a little bit. because we just recently watched that the roast of Tom Brady.
Whew, that was brutal.
Which, but the overwhelming thing that people were saying about him were like, you're boring, you only eat strawberries, like, just very like stereotypical things about his lifestyle. But they have no idea about his lifestyle, but they see this guy with this great success into his 40s,
Super
like,
pretty.
super pretty. Like, how have you done this? You are obviously the most boring, the most straightforward. You have no fun. You eat only strawberries. Like, I don't know why everybody kept saying strawberries.
Must have been something in his book about strawberries.
I don't know. But I think this is like speaking to the people that are leading by example, is like, don't let the like
hate
and like the stereotypes and like the like someone feeling bad, like if you guys are at a restaurant and you're both ordering and you order a seemingly healthier option, don't let that kind of like put other people like pushing it into your face, like, oh, of course you wouldn't get this. Like, let it stop you. Don't let it stop you.
Yeah,
because you are going to battle that. Happen. You're going to battle that kind of stuff if you are trying to lead by example. You're just going to like think about how Tom Brady has done this.
You too might have millions of dollars when you finish your fitness
journey. He couldn't let the hate like stop him. He couldn't let the haters like throughout all his years, push him down.
And like this goes back to having a bigger reason to do this in the first place than just wanting to lose weight. I sent out an email the end of last week asking our email subscribers, like, why do you do this? Like, why do you prioritize getting your workouts in? Why do you eat healthy? And like all the answers that came back were much more powerful whys that will help you push through when you face that resistance from your family. Like wanting to break the family cycle of obesity, of chronic disease, of depression, anxiety. Like if you really want to change your family tree and break that cycle, you're gonna have to face that resistance, remember why you started in the first place, and then make those hard choices in the minute. Because if your only goal is just to lose weight, when you face that resistance, you're gonna fall in because it's uncomfortable, and you have to like have a deeper reason to go through that discomfort and get to the other side.
And I think that, to bring it full circle, that is truly how you do lead by example, is if you don't quit when you start to feel the heat.
That's a great point. Yeah, because that is the most common thing, just giving in. It's like that old podcast episode we had about the jalapeno poppers. Like people are going to put it on you. Like, of course, what, you think this is going to kill you?
Yeah, like one jalapeno popper, you think that's going to kill you?
Eat the cookie. It's not going to kill you. Like, what, you don't eat cookies? Like, you goody two shoes? Like, those are the comments you're going to get.
Yeah.
And if you want to lead by example, you better be ready for them and have a deeper reason to stick to your guns than just losing weight.
Yep. All right. Step 2, make it fun and engaging.
So I think, making it fun, this is going to be different for every family, but you're going to have to like find a way to incorporate fitness and fitness related activities into your family's lifestyle to kind of break down that resistance. So if your default family vacation is usually to go on a cruise or to go to Disney or whatever, think outside the box and think if there's something active that will kind of bridge the gap of something everybody will still agree to do. That's a more active type thing. Or if your family normally celebrates every occasion with food, try to think of another way to celebrate it. Doing something active, like going somewhere where you can go on a hike. Not just like every occasion being like, what are we going to eat? What restaurant are we going to go to? So trying to make it more fun for everybody involved.
And even weekly things, like, okay, on Sunday afternoons, we all like go for a bike ride or go for a walk or a hike or something like that, or paddle boarding, or thinking of fun activities that the family can do together that are
this one. I just thought of while you were saying that, it kind of bridges the gap between that and what we were just talking about, leading by example, is maybe like our tradition of having biscuits on Sunday. Like if your family is like really resistant to quote eating healthy and they really just want to like eat, order takeout constantly and just eat this like stuff that is going to make you feel gross and you don't want to eat. If that's like a regular thing, try to like propose, let's save that for actual special occasions instead of making it our norm. And that might go over better than just being like, we're never going to have those
like pizza night. Like instead of like every Thursday is pizza night, it's like, how about like on our birthdays we get, or whatever the occasion is.
Right. Reinforce that like special occasions are times for,
Yeah.
more indulgent type things, not for just a Tuesday when you're running behind schedule.
Right.
And then like along the same lines of food, you have to probably be proactive in your family at thinking of healthier options. If you're, facing resistance where you're in this routine of ordering food out, or you're in the groove of like, these are the 3 meals we make every week, and they have nothing to do with fitness, you're going to have to be proactive at probably looking up some different options that people will like be willing to compromise on, instead of just like thinking you're going to eat a separate menu from those people. Be proactive and think into something that everybody will eat, and turn it into a group event. Like if somebody else in your family likes cooking, but they typically cook like what's the lady your mom watches on TV that's always using so much butter?
Paula Deen.
Well, no, she got canceled, but she's been replaced. I think it might be the Pioneer Woman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, whenever we're over at her house and she has that on, she's like, all right, we're gonna start with.
That's Paula Deen. She's not that country.
Okay, well, this lady's like, okay, well, we're gonna start with 6 sticks of butter in this recipe, and then we're gonna add some heavy whipping cream.
Paula Deen is canceled.
Oh, she got canceled big time.
Oh gosh.
I think I don't even want to get into that, but she might have made a comeback, but yes, where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So if you have people in your family that are cooking, they like cooking, be willing to help them learn some healthier ways to prepare things. And that's probably going to take a little bit of research on your part too. But the point is you're going to have to be proactive if you want to create an environment where these people are going to decide to change on their own.
Well, another option for that, we're really going too long on this part, but is like to create like whole food items, and then everybody can put it together
That's a great point.
they can, like, so there's options. So you make a pile of meat, you make noodles, you make a sauce, you make the vegetables, and you can have the bowl however you want it. Someone can have it as spaghetti. Someone, just there's different options there for the same food.
Yeah, that's a way
so you're
to
not like
eat
limiting.
the same foods.
Yeah, you're not limiting other people if they're like, I really want spaghetti tonight, but you're like, I don't really want to have spaghetti. So you're like, okay, I can eat the meat and the vegetables and something like that.
And if you model that for the people in your life, you're leading by example. They'll start to pick up on the fact that you still can eat the same type of foods that they do, but you just adjust the quantities of the parts that are, higher in calories, easier to overeat, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
We don't ever we go visit people or wherever, we don't bring our own Tupperwares.
No, we just make the choices of what we're all eating together.
Yeah. And you can do that too. And then think about gifting technology or including technology.
Oh, didn't you just do this on Mother's Day?
Yeah, I just got my mom a knockoff Fitbit on Amazon because she might lose it or break it or whatever.
Thanks a lot. I got you a knockoff.
Does the same thing. I checked the reviews. But anyway, she's trying to get her activity level up, and now she has a piece of technology on her wrist that's going to tell her how many steps she's getting.
And we secretly track it. I'm just kidding.
I'm hacked into the
Get up, Mom. You haven't stepped yet.
So I think that's going to motivate her to get more activity in. So you can do this with your family, and then you can create a family challenge around that too.
Yeah.
You got to be a little smart about this.
You can share all that stuff, like the Apple. You can share your steps. You can create. The Apple does a great job of creating challenges within its own app. I'm super into those. I'm like, ooh, if I do this, I get an award. But you can help your family can collect those awards together.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So if you got an unlimited budget, go buy an Apple Watch for everybody in your family right now. Or get the knockoff Fitbit on Amazon. Okay. I don't think we need to talk too much more about technology on that one.
All right, last one. Educate and empower.
Yeah. This is case to case dependent. Some people just don't want to hear anything, but you probably have communal times during your day and in your family and stuff where you're all watching the same kind of entertainment or whatever. Don't be afraid to have some of that out where people can hear it too. If you're listening to the Digital Barbell podcast, instead of putting your AirPods in, leave it playing on the Bluetooth speaker. Maybe start to pick up on a little bit of this stuff. Play YouTube on your TV when you're, watching your favorite whatever fitness type related content. Start to be a little bit overt about the stuff that you're learning, and they might pick up on it. And that's the key with all this stuff of trying to quote convince somebody to do it. You need to put stuff out there as kind of the bait,
right?
To where you're just waiting for them to catch on to something that makes them curious, and then you strike and you Give them
Yeah.
what they want to know. You can't just like blast somebody with, did you know that these things are inflammatory in your
Yeah.
diet? Don't you know that eating that is going to do? No, but if they hear it from somebody else, and you know the truth, they hear it from
Right.
somebody else because you put it in the environment, then you're there to provide the information and clarify it for them and maybe give them a little bit of advice
Yeah.
on how to fix the thing.
I have a funny story about this. Is I begged my mom for years and years and years to not drink so much Diet Coke. She was so into Diet Coke. And I was like, there's so many chemicals in there. You're drinking a lot of Diet Cokes a day. You should not drink this many Diet Cokes. Like, we got to start paring them down, blah, blah, blah. Years and years went by, probably a decade. Finally, Oprah said it. She hasn't had a Diet Coke in
She
10 years.
went cold turkey that day.
She went cold turkey that day. I shouldn't drink this Diet Coke. Did you know that there's all these chemicals in Diet Coke? I was like, yes, I did.
So is step 4 of this process going to be to get on the horn with Oprah and tell her what you want your family to
I
know?
don't think she's on the TV anymore, but yeah.
Yeah. So another side of this is like to share educational content. Your family's probably on social media. I'm not talking about you in general,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
whoever's listening to this, your family's on Facebook, especially if your parents are in your 60s, in their 60s now, they're all on Facebook. People are on Instagram. You know, look at something that conveys what you want them to know, probably in a funny way, and share that kind of content with them. They probably don't want to see an infographic about
I would
how
say
many grams
too,
of
at a
protein.
certain extent, like sometimes if you just or you're getting constantly shared stuff that you have
Oh,
no
yeah.
interest in,
If
you're
it's
like,
constant.
all right, that's enough. But I do like your idea of like having it like on the TV, like, you know, a lot of times when my family's over, we'll have like the stuff like camper videos on YouTube, and they're probably like, oh, I didn't know that this was available, like this content, and now we've like heard, I think, you know, them watching this stuff when they're on their own, like I watched this camper video, you know,
Yeah.
so it definitely catches on, and sometimes people don't know what all is out there.
So you're for that idea, but you're against the idea of like sharing.
I'm
posts with
for
people.
like having it on the public TV, and so people can walk by and hearing it. If you're just in there and everybody else is doing something, don't put it in your ear, but put it out loud. Yes, but I don't like the idea of just sharing. Like, hey, listen to this YouTube because you know your family does this. Like, here's an hour and a half long YouTube. Watch this. Like, I don't have time for that, and I don't even know what this is.
Okay, here's a compromise.
I would not. I don't click any links that I'm sent.
Yeah.
So don't send me any links.
Okay, a compromise would be instead of sending somebody like, hey, watch this, or I thought you would find this helpful, share it on your own social media, and they already follow you, and they'll pick up on it from that.
Okay, that's a
There you go.
workaround. That's a workaround.
That's a workaround compromise.
Don't email any people this. This is back to the days of like email forwards.
Oh
I
my
thought this
gosh.
joke was funny. Like,
That's
yeah,
a good point. Like sharing other people's stuff in your Instagram story is the new day.
is the
email
new like,
forward.
yeah, and that gives them the choice, like swipe by it or partake. It
Yeah.
used to be like, now I got to process this, so I got to watch it or delete it or do something with it.
This thing's clogging up my inbox. All right, let's talk
Conclusion?
about.
Are we at
No,
the
no.
conclusion yet?
Okay, so that we're still on educate and empower. I think part of the empowering thing is like the way that you model what you're trying to do for people with like the goals that they know you're chasing. So go back to what we said earlier about set process oriented goals instead of like extreme weight loss goals that are might set you up for failure and might reinforce to them what they already believe about common diet culture or extreme fitness kind of stuff. What?
If I had another devil's advocate idea, but it has worked.
Okay.
So I like to weigh how much protein I get still to this day. I weigh every day. I weigh how much protein I'm eating.
Yeah, like out of each meal.
And publicly, I've done this with my family's visiting. They have a scale at their house for measuring coffee and stuff. I'll use it or I'll use ours here. And I constantly get the joke, make sure you're not eating too much. And I'm like, no, I'm making sure I'm getting enough, making sure I'm getting enough protein. And like, I will just say that on repeat and just continue to weigh it. And it has gradually like caught on. Like they are more aware that like,
now they
you
accuse
need
us constantly eating.
Yeah, they think we're constantly eating, but I'm saying that they're more aware of like understanding quantities of things that
true.
you're supposed to know that you're eating. You know, like how much am I eating of this? How much should I be eating of this?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, how is that devil's advocate?
it's kind of like one of those things where you're like,
just like showing out in front of people.
no,
even?
not showing out, but you just have to like bear down and like put your head down and like tell them why you're doing it. You're going to get made fun of. Tell them why you're doing it and what the real reason is you're doing it.
Yeah.
And over time, it will
Yeah.
leak into their subconscious and catch on.
It's setting a good example for them. Like, I know I need to eat enough protein per day because it is important to my health, my strength, my recovery. And
But
here's how I
anytime
do
you're
it.
seeing weighing food, it looks like you're limiting.
Restriction.
You're like, looks like restriction.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm making sure I'm getting enough. No, I'm making sure I'm getting enough. Just say that
Yeah.
and move on.
So step off, Jack. Remind me to come back to like one of
Okay.
my Jedi mind tricks about
Oh,
how I
gosh.
deal with comments from people after we get back to this one.
Okay.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah. Talking about like setting realistic goals. So you model for these people, like, you're not just like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in the next
Right.
30 days. Like, I'm more like, I'm going to be consistent with my workouts 3 times a week this week. Make people understand that that's truly what it's all about.
Right.
And then helping people understand what are the things that we should be tracking those consistency goals instead of just the outcomes. So
Yeah.
be overt about, like, when you hit a milestone of something you're working on, like, let them know that you had a realistic goal and you achieved it. Because a lot of people are only looking forward to that goal weight or whatever, finishing the 75 hard, whatever. So be different and be bold about
Is
that.
it time for the conclusion yet?
Let me give my tip for how I deal with. There's certain people in your life that you're probably not going to change their mind. Let's just be honest. Like, you can hold out hope, you can set the example, you can be ready with hanging the bait that they might jump on it. But there's some people that aren't just going to, and you've seen them like do all these crazy things throughout their life. They hear one influencer take a stand on gut health, and they're just like going to go gung-ho on gut health, and you can't tell them any different.
Yeah.
Here's how you deal with people when they come at you and they start telling you why you're wrong. You say, you're probably right. And then you go on with your life. You don't engage these kind of people. All they want,
You're probably right.
all they
It
want
is
is
gut
to
health.
start a conversation to try to convince you of something that you have no interest in changing your mind on. And I realize that might sound a little hypocritical because we want people to change their mind
Yeah.
when they start down a more sustainable, normal, healthy path. But don't engage these people. Just listen to what they want to say. Say, you're probably right. That's the end of the conversation. And on you go with your life.
So if I ever hear you're probably right, then I should be like, he's just saying that. You just told your secrets.
If I've ever you're probably righted you, then now you know the jig is up.
Now you know why. All right. Conclusion.
It says on the notes, conclusion. I mean, I think like we all want the same thing. We want to be healthy. We want to be capable. We want longevity. We want the physical ability to enjoy our life. And we want to look fit. We want to feel confident. We want to be strong. We all want these things. And when we're in a relationship with somebody, or we have a family member or people, close friends, we want that for them too. And you have to release yourself from the pressure that you can't make people change, but be proactive in setting the example for them, being willing to face resistance when you run into it, when it does happen, and be willing to push through that and do the things that we talked about in this episode to give them the best chance to approach you because you're not putting them off, and give you the best chance to help them when they are ready to make a change. You can always send them to digitalbarbell.com. We'll do the dirty work for you because we don't have a stake in the game.
Yeah.
All we want to do is help them. We won't be mad if they unfriend us or whatever. But yeah, that's what we all want, the same thing. So that's why we wanted to do this episode.
Yep.
All right, I'll think of a sponsor for next week since I didn't really get a good one in this week.
Oh, goodness.
All right, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any suggestions of ways that you help other people do what we're talking about in this episode, feel free
Yeah.
to shoot us a message on Instagram or an email, and be on the lookout for the program that's going to start right after Memorial Day. If you need quick workouts to do this summer,
For the summer. Yep.
that's who this is going to be for. So, all right, hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great day.